Hey y'all, so we're coming off of our first real biochar burn. After our test run yielded pretty good success, we did some modifications to our homemade rocket stove that holds 3 of these 55-gallon barrels, or 50-gallon, and was able to fill up to the rim with wood stock for the biochar making. As you can see, it yielded pretty much a full barrel of biochar. So now we're going to get down to the task of turning it into fine dust, or fine particles. The more we can crush it, the more conducive it'll be for what we needed in the garden and different remediation uses in the chicken house and such. And we cleaned out this old shed here. It had lost its roof through the snowfall of this year. It has an old concrete slab roughed out that'll make a perfect tamping floor to crush this charcoal. I was going to get a tarp and put down, but around here it's waste not, want not, and we've had this old plastic sheeting around forever, so I cut a piece of it to fit, and I'm going to begin to take this char in little batches and put it on here and tamp it down to a dust. Before I'm going to do that, just to keep the dust level down, it is a little wet here today, which is good, but I've got some rainwater in this little 1-gallon sprayer. It's actually infused with some willow tree, but that's not the main thing. It's just that it's rainwater. And I'm going to go ahead and spray the char with that, enough to keep it from making a big dust cloud. So we'll get started and see how it goes with getting this biochar down to a particle we can use here on the farm. First, we're going to get a little bucket of char here. Sure, in a minute I'll get to just dumping the whole thing out, but just for demonstration purposes, we'll act a little civilized. Looks like some pretty good stuff. Let's see here. Again, to recap, I've got a plastic sheet down on this concrete in order to capture any fine dust. And speaking of fine dust, I've got some rainwater in this to I'll probably administer a little bit throughout the crushing process. This is not inoculating it at all. It's just keeping the dust down so that I don't have to wear a mask, because without it, it is quite dusty and you don't want to be breathing that stuff. A few folks will crunch on it and eat it, but digestive tract's different than the lungs. It's extremely porous. And a little bit will go a long way here. So again, work in progress. Using what we got, I'm going to see how this works out. Yep, a little dusty. As bad as my first round. Some of this char did not get done completely, so I'll filter some of that out that's not crushing, and we'll put that back in the reburn pile. It's about as fine as I want to do it without it being a little wetter, and I can attest to say that I will definitely be getting the whole barrel of dumping. Otherwise, it's going to take quite an amount of time. And saving labor is the way to go with this stuff. Just a little rainwater. I've got a big cylinder out there full of concrete that I'm going to use as a roller on a bigger scale, along with some other ideas, but for now, we're just showing how to pulverize this down, depending on how fine you want it. I'd like mine pretty fine because it'll go further and more surface area for the inoculants that we'll use in the compost tea and compost bed to fill up all those pores. And with it being on a plastic sheet, I'll be able to roll it up and dump it fairly easily into a container to store. Boy, it's some kind of porous. Looks like I hadn't put any water on it at all. Yeah, that's going to work out quite nicely. I'm satisfied with this for the test of it. As you can see, it's pretty fine. Lots of good biochar, homemade. Getting to me. All right, I'm going to wet this down and kind of get busy with some other options, see what works the best, and I guess we'll check back in later.